There are a ton of solutions available when it comes to streaming games, and when it comes to streaming on PlayStation, you want to make sure that you have the best of the best within your budget. Out of the 3 devices that I'm going to show you guys today, I guarantee that there will be one that will be worth your while when it comes to streaming solutions. I've got a device for the budget, middle tier, and one to break the bank, so without further ado, let's get into them. So the first device I want to talk to you guys about today is the Elgato HD60S Plus. When it comes to any kind of streaming solutions, Elgato always has your back. They have a complete library of products from top to bottom, including the highly praised Stream Deck XL, which you can see right here of course. And so naturally, I was excited to try out the HD60 Plus. 1080p at 60 frames per second has always been the standard whenever you're streaming games online, and that's exactly what the HD60S Plus has set out to do. I use Ecamm Live on my Mac for streaming, and the HD60S Plus connects up to it just fine with Ecamm Live, and it also works in OBS as well, just as any other tool you'd want to use. Now, out of the box, as you can see, the HD60S Plus is compact and about the size of a hockey puck. This helps in convenience, but soon it seems to become quite counterproductive as you begin to hook up the device. You see, the inputs and the outputs of the device are arranged in a way that most would find inconvenient and somewhat frustrating. Their placement works, but in a way that could have been done a lot more convenient based on the arrangement. That aside, how does the HD60S Plus perform for me? Well, judge for yourself. This is not what I would come to expect when I want to stream at 60 frames per second. It was quite disappointing, guys. The frame rates are constantly dropping, and it just isn't a smooth experience. I was extremely disappointed that the performance of the HD60S Plus, especially given the fact that I'm utilizing a new MacBook Pro with the M1 Max chip. The performance was just not what I expected to see. Maybe you will have a better experience with the HD60S Plus, but for me, it's just not happening. It was a no-go. If you trust Elgato, it might be worth a shot for you, but for me, I needed another solution. The Elgato HD60S Plus is available from multiple retailers, priced at $199.99. And the next device that I want to talk to you guys about today is from a company called Narvitech. They have this little video capture device called the NS120. And when I first got my hands on the NS120, I immediately thought, what can this little device do that the HD60S Plus can't? And well, in a sense, in my eyes, from what I've tested, basically everything, including the ability to stream and record in full HD at 120 frames per second. Not 60, it doubles down, and you can record at 120 frames per second. This is something that as an industry standard is just unheard of. And within OBS, you can be sure that you are capturing at 120 frames per second by setting it manually to that frame setting within the application settings. It's that easy. Now, while there aren't many PlayStation 5 games that currently support 120 frames per second, and you'll in fact need a 120 Hz display to support that output and that kind of frame rate, that is an extremely high fidelity feature that is sure to come in handy in a magnitude of situations. You can easily capture slow motion gameplay smoothly without the sacrifice of quality. And if capturing at 120 frames per second isn't your forte, well, no sweat. You can still capture and stream at a stunning 4K 30 frames per second as well. The form factor of the NS120 is nice and small. It's very compact, as you can see here. It's like a USB stick essentially, utilizing USB at one end and an HDMI connection for your device on the other. And if you own a new MacBook Pro like I do, it comes in handy with a USB-A to USB-C adapter to utilize USB-C interfaces without a hiccup. It does create somewhat of a tight squeeze when using it with other USB devices connected, as well as quite the daisy chain, but the results are simply stunning. Smooth gameplay, smooth capture, smooth streaming. The NS120 is a small capture card with heavyweight performance that you would expect from professional grade cards. And like the HD60S Plus, the Narvitech NS120 video capture wand is supported by all third-party streaming services and platforms, including OBS, as I mentioned earlier, Ecamm Live, and many more. The only knock I have on the NS120 for me personally is what I mentioned earlier with the daisy chain connection. It begins to get a bit long physically, to the point that the adapter has a bit of pressure on the edge of the connection. So I have to ensure that I have a nice secure connection at every point. But other than that, what is there not to like about this thing? It's compact, easy to connect, fast, and best of all, it just works really well. You can't go wrong with the Narvitech NS120, and you won't be disappointed by its performance, I promise you that. You can get yours for a reasonable $89 at Amazon. And the final streaming device that I want to talk to you guys about today is for streamers that really want to have a professional looking broadcast with professional features and the ability to process the video on the device itself rather than on the computer. And the device I'm talking about is the ATEM Mini Pro from Blackmagic Design. The ATEM Mini Pro has all the features you need without sacrificing hardware encoding on your machine itself. This especially comes in handy for streamers who have an older computer system but aren't quite yet ready to upgrade their computer yet. This bad boy will undoubtedly get the job done for you. The ATEM Mini Pro is a live production switcher that gives you all the features you need for recording, streaming, and monitoring as well. It includes 4 HDMI ports as well as an HDMI output for monitoring your video. The result is an output that not only looks professional, but works professionally as well. There's even an onboard support for recording directly to an external drive, as well as direct streaming via Ethernet to popular streaming services like Facebook and of course YouTube as well. So technically you could stream with this thing without even having a computer. You could just plug it right in to your router and the other end into your ATEM and you're all set to go live. The USB port connects to your computer and essentially tricks the computer into thinking that the USB connection is a webcam and just brings in exactly what is being outputted to the ATEM itself. There's no video processing or encoding at all either, so there's no heavy load on your computer at all. It's just outputting it as a camera source as the camera sees it as a webcam. This idea is absolutely truly remarkable. There's no load on the system at all. And the output? Well, it speaks for itself. Take a look for yourself right here. Simply stunning video at 1080p 60 frames per second at 10-bit without a single frame rate drop. Now folks, this device is not for everyone. I would say it's for creators that want to have a professional streaming workflow and they want to have a utilization of not having to worry about hardware encoding on the computer when streaming. Now all these features, of course, they come at a hefty price, as the ATEM Mini Pro will set you back at $495. You can find it at multiple retail outlets including Amazon, B&H Photo, and many more. There's many streaming devices out there that can achieve multiple tasks, but at the end of the day, you have to choose the one that fits your portfolio and the one that's going to achieve what you're trying to do, of course, within your budget. Depending on your workflow, including the devices you have available, as well as the means, as streaming can get quite expensive, if you want to achieve quote-unquote the look, any one of these devices that I have mentioned today will work great. If you're looking for a device that has a quick setup to get you up and running quickly, go for the HD60S Plus from Elgato. If you're looking for a device that is dependable, portable, as well as extremely efficient, you can't go wrong with the NS120 from Narvitech. And if you have some time on your hands and you're trying to achieve a broadcast-like output with multiple outputs that won't put a strain on your computer, you can't go wrong with the ATEM Mini Pro from Blackmagic Design. I hope this video helped you make a solid choice. Let me know down in the comment section below exactly what devices you use when it comes to streaming, and if you have some experience in some of the devices that I've mentioned today, let me know your thoughts on them as well. If you enjoyed this tech video, do me a huge favor and smash the like button and check out what else I'm offering on the channel, and if you like what you see, be sure to subscribe. Until next time, I'm A to the P. Albert Perkins, and we will see you in the next one. Until then, and as always, peace!